Don't come away, swoops around the outside. Joshua Germany putting up an almighty defence. Jared Kaler taking his second win. Stephen King for Pulse eSports makes it 3 for 3 at Oran Park. Andy Fox wins. Henry Morse makes it the double and takes another win here at Watkins Glen. Blake comes around the final corner and across the line. Jameson Hudson has done it. Championship rival Morgan Burkhardt wins again. And there we have it. Two-time Jetta Cup champion, Jake Cranston. Good evening, guys and girls. Welcome back to the Racing Line and VCO eSports for the Volkswagen Jetta Cup, powered by GT Omega. Broadcast here on YouTube and Twitch at the Racing Line, and YouTube and Twitch at VCO eSports. And like I said, powered by GT Omega, where you can get some discount on all of their products, especially for Black Friday, which is coming up soon, using that code right there, TRL, on your screens. Don't know why the track map's so big this week, but at least it highlights that. Oh, look at that. I've just seen we need to change something on that immediately, because that is wrong. It is round 8 of the Volkswagen Jetta Cup. There you go, it's ticked over. We've got 3 rounds left. We are on our final triple header as we head over the ocean towards Japan, and we are here at Twin Ring Motegi, the east layout, just in case you didn't recognize the layout on your screens, the east layout. And it's not the first time we've been here. We're returning to Twin Ring Motegi. I say returning. This is the first time that we've been here for the Jettas, as we fly over from our last round at Long Beach across the ocean to Japan. The last time we were here wasn't in the Jettas. We came here for the RLTC for the penultimate round, where we saw Jake Cranston take pole position. We saw Pulsus take a win in race 1 with Connor Mills in an Audi. We saw Marcel Friesch for Fear Factor win in race 2 in a Hyundai. And we saw Kyle Ridley, a familiar name, in Win It or Bin It at the time, for a win in race 3 in a Honda, with all 3 car manufacturers of the TCRs taking a win that day, which was actually quite impressive. I think it was one of the only circuits where that happened, it was great to see. Great time. If you haven't seen the RLTC, go back and watch it, because even though it's not live anymore, the action was insane, and the championship finale at Phillip Island is really not to miss. But anyway, we're here for the Volkswagen Jetta Cup. Who will take honours this week? It's not Jake Cranston, as he is now away for this round and next round, I believe. And the others will be looking to close on his championship lead. Speaking of his championship lead, let's take a look at... I could just get them up. Let's take a look at your championship standings, both your teams' standings, and... we of course need the driver's standings as well. Bear with me while I just send them over. So we see some nice scenic cams of Twin Ring Motegi. Right, let's start off with your team standings. Here is what it looks like then. So, Lurchus Gaming pull away from Meatball Motorsport in P11 and P12. And also close in on Team 12, who are in P10 currently. Zero Forks Giving Racing are hunting down Frogleap Juiced Racing for P8, with the gap closing from 46 points to 25 last time out at Long Beach. ORD have jumped past Goldwing in P7 to P6, going from 27 points behind them to 43 points ahead, thanks to the continued top 10 strength of ORD's new European dynamic duo, the Czech Majorek and Polish Patrick. Really putting in strong form this season, the late season, after a slow start for those two. Win It or Bin It are in P5 and break the 1,000 mark and close from 94 points back to just 27 behind Project Dynamic, who are currently in P4. But with the return of Arthur Thurtle tonight, their third driver for the rest of the season, can Project Dynamic start fighting back? Masters of Torque hold P3, but pull away from Project Dynamic from 26 points to 118 points ahead. However, Masters of Talk have a one driver out there tonight, which is Jerry Agard, as Donnie Henriksen cannot make it today, and Jake Cranston is not here also, as previously mentioned. Street Casuals and Pulsus Esports hold the top 2 spots. Pulsus will be one driver down today, so Street Casuals will be looking to capitalise, as Timu will not be here again due to work commitments, and with both teams having previous season winners currently winless, it's looking tense up there as we approach the final races. Well, the final race in 2 weeks, but the final few races. You got Henry Morse as a seasoned veteran, Stephen King a seasoned veteran, and neither of them with a win this season. Let's take a look at the championship standings. Let's start from the bottom. As per usual. We've got Rod Askew and Ray Oliver holding station down there, who haven't entered a race for a little while. We've got Sebastian Holmichael in 34th, 10 points behind teammate Jan Weiswanger, but also not showing up tonight, Sebastian Holmichael. Hughes and Caraday look in a close fight for 31st, as Corpus finally capitalises on his pace and jumps from 34th to 30th. Who you said is away, just put headphones on. So I'm confused at what Cackle is saying in chat. I'll get back to that in a second. What was I saying? Corpus finally capitalises. He jumps from 34th to 30th, and he's just 4 points behind Duncan Murray. Dan Thornton is in 28th with Ika Lequay in 27th. Yeezus leads the Lurchers team in 26th, just 4 points behind Thurtle, who returns tonight. Fox and Agard are in a fight for P23, whilst Blake looks safe in P22. Henriksen, Burns and Van der Velde are locked into a freeway fight for P19. Otley and Van Nolst are just 1 point apart in 17th and 18th place. Let's have a look at the top half of the grid. Koba still sits there in P16 despite an early retirement. Wallace is chasing Ridley currently, so keep an eye on those two in P15. Ridley is strong here. Wallace has had good form recently, so that fight is interesting. Manintveld will be looking to pass both ORD drivers ahead for P11, but with Depart and Mayorx form recently, that is going to be a tough job. Huffman actually probably looking like he's in trouble from the frets behind, looking to break into those top 10 areas, those previous 3 drivers. Dan Downing is holding on to 9th, whilst Morse's late charge this season moves him up to 8th. How far will that man go? He's been doing really well recently. Can he climb even further? Well, Timu's not here today, and he's in P7, so there's a spot. He misses today's round, whilst Josh aims to close on Austin Farr in P5. The top 4 look to have broken away, with John Bailiff dropping from P2 to P4, right behind Stephen King, who's right behind Morgan Burkhardt. But Cranston has more than a 100-point lead, and will the P2 fight, the close P2 fight, trip over each other today, or will they work together to close that gap on the dominant Jake Cranston as of late? Stay tuned here on the Racing Line, the Volkswagen Jetta Cup, powered by GT Amiga, to find out. How long left? Oh, look at that. Plenty of time. 1.5 minutes left. And there are the lap times currently on your screen. Morgan Burkhardt showing his pace again early. Fastest in practice with 1.5 minutes left. Dan Downing. Let's have a look at Morgan Burkhardt. He's probably out there somewhere. Oh, 3 Project Dynamic cars. That's a nice shot. Look at those guys. All 3 of them back on track together, teaching each other how to get round this circuit. Nice livery, nice colour scheme. Away they go. Dan Downing's up in P2. Henry Morse is up in P3. King is in P4. Morse and King, those 2 drivers on the rival leading teams. No wins for them this season so far. Arthur Thurtle is coming back strong in P5. Martin Wallace is up there in P7. I said to watch the fight between him and Ridley. Ridley is in 11th currently. Fox and Bailiff are looking good for Win It or Bin It. Germany has said he's been struggling with pace here this race, so it'll be interesting to see where he finishes in the end. He's got Brandon Hughes ahead of him for ZFG. He's doing well in P14. Greg Otley currently down in 21st, also struggling for pace here at Twin Ring Motegi. Dan Thornton will be happy. He's up in 19th place, just behind David Corpus. Jerry Agard is up there in 17th as well. Yeezus and Mundere and Lequay are together. Van Olst down there in 25th. Dan Blake normally joins practice late, so he is in 26th. Jan Weiswanger in 27th. Caraday is also out there with 28 drivers. In my head, I felt like we were meant to have 29. Huffman is not out there. Ridley's by himself. Okay, so Jameson Huffman is in danger of the cars behind in the championship at that rate. Let's have a look at chat. Kakula said just put headphones on. Who you said is away, just put headphones on. What? Sebastian Holmichael says, hey, have some nice Jetta racing tonight. Holmichael has raided us, so his stream coming on over as we tick over into qualifying. Qualifying is about to begin. It's 8 minutes. They are all on track at once. Let's see if we can get a pit lane camera. Do we have any pit lane cameras? We do, so we'll see all of them. Is there going to be a rush? There's normally a mad rush, but look at everyone. So this is a weird game we haven't seen much this season. No one wants to lead. Joshua Germany leads. They all want slipstream. Morgan Burkhardt waits. He's waiting. Thurtle's gone. And now they all... Look at that lonely marshal there on the right-hand side. Is that the flagman? Bernie the flagman stood there by himself. Few drivers waiting for space. The track is big enough to find space here. Whilst they all leave, let's have a quick look at your previous winners. This is what the season has looked like so far for those of you that are joining us for the first time here today. We had Media Day at Alton Park. Doesn't matter the results on that. That was our break-in day. You have round 1 at Donington Park, all the way back when we were in the UK. Morgan Burkhardt taking first honours. John Bailiff taking the feature race win. Round 2 at Brands Hatch. Again in the UK, Arthur Thurtle taking his debut win on his debut season. John Bailiff taking another feature race win. John Bailiff leads the championship. Morgan Burkhardt and Joshua Germany taking his first win ever in Jetta Cup history. He's been here all 3 seasons. He took his first win at Zandvoort feature race round 3. It was a popular win. He had a Dacoba Lopez right behind him. A fierce rivalry between those two up until Summit Point, the point in which a Dacoba called it a day and left the series. Round 4 was a dominant performance by Jake Cranston at Lime Rock Park. We didn't think we would see a double win. Jake Cranston goes and does it at Lime Rock, a track where it has been done before with Charles Rainford in Season 1, for example. Morgan Burkhardt then proved that it can be done again at Summit Point, and he double won at Summit Point. We then had Cranston and Toyka taking his first win at Laguna Seca. Stephen King nearly getting that win, but Toyka holding on to it in the end. Look at all the cars in the background going towards the hairpin. That's nice. And then round 7 at Long Beach, Morgan Burkhardt and Jake Cranston going at it again. Jake, I think, finishing first in the feature, but second in the sprint, so gaining a lot of points. And today, well, that's what we're here for. What can we find today? Who's going to win? Who is your money on? In chat, I can see you all watching. We've got quite a few Racing Line and, well, Racing Line YouTube and Twitchers. I can see you on VCO. There's quite a few of you on VCO eSports, Twitch. You can only see one of you on the YouTube, but we get in chat. Say hello. Who are you rooting for today? I am not sure, to be honest. I would like to see some more winners. We've had 6 winners in 7 rounds, so it's not too bad. We've had 5 pole position sitters. We've had 14 people sit on the podium. That is one of the beauties of spec series. When they're fixed cars, they're fairly slow cars. I'm not going to say they're dead slow, but they are not the quickest on iRacing, of course, when you've got the GT3s and stuff, F1 cars, etc. But slower cars normally breed stronger racing, especially if they're so even. And that is exactly what we have here. Vince Gussie says, hey, commentator. I didn't introduce myself today, did I? I'm your commentator, Jack Johns. I am the Racing Line. You can call me Jack, you can call me the Racing Line, you can call me whatever. Commentator's fine. Vince, I'm assuming you're the guy that's watching on VCO eSports YouTube, so I'll say hello to you. And don't forget, you guys. Now, Biggie Morello's in Twitch chat as well. He's popping his head round to say hello. Don't forget, the Driver of the Day vote will be put across all 4 channels, so keep an eye out for that towards the end of the second race. As Austin Farr sets the fastest time so far, Joshua Germany, Henry Morse goes to the top of the tables. Patrick Depart goes to the top of the table with a 1:35.1. Morgan Burkhardt put in a scary time in practice, which was actually fairly close to what Dan Downing has just done for Goldwing. A 1:34.8. That's a good lap time for Daniel Downing for Goldwing there. It was a 34.7 for Burkhardt in practice. Was the fastest time that we saw for a while. People were, well, I say people, I heard Joshua Germany comment on that lap. So I don't think anyone had seen a lap like that yet, but Dan Downing has just got within 1/10. He's got plenty of slipstream from the 3 ZFG cars up ahead of him. He's got the whole ZFG team in front of him. That is Brandon Hughes, though, the car currently in well, this close to him. If we go on his nose cam, as someone cuts the grass to get out the way there. You got Greg Otley going off into the wall as well on the left-hand side. I'm guessing he was getting out of Martin's way. Brandon Hughes in the 700 horsepower Jetta there in front, Gets right up behind him. Dan's probably losing time, sat this close. Let's see what Austin Farr can do again. Stephen King is currently down in 26th place, 3.5 seconds off the pace. I don't think he's found the right space. Vince says slow cars with a competitive grid makes the best racing. Yes, it does. He's got Jerry Agard in front of him as Stephen King for Pulsar eSports, the only Masters of Talk car out there, the bright orange one. So keep an eye on him to see how he does. The only Swiss driver off the grid representing his country. We've got a few nationalities out there. Despite previous comments, I say comments, one comment about being an English championship, but it is, it's really fairly, do you know what? I said it last time, I'm going to say it again. Respect to everyone. Jerry Agar goes wide. He misses the apex at turn 1s, and off he goes. Stephen King goes P4, 1/10 away from pole position. Henry Morse is nearly there. Eric Mannenveld, the Dutch driver, is absolutely having a storm in qualifying. That's 2 Street Casuals cars in 2nd and 3rd. Dangerous for Pulsars when they're missing a driver today. Austin Farr currently letting them down in P11, 4/10 off. Forgot what I was saying. Nationalities, they're all over the place. Caraday, Spanish at the bottom. German, Weiswanger. British Blake, British Otley. Portugal flag for Corpus and Amundere. South African flag for Duncan Murray. British Thornton, Fox, Thurtle. Belgian Van Olst. Portugal flag for Lequay, he's doing well in 17th. Swiss flag for Agard. British flag for Germany. Scottish flag for Burns. Americans, we've got a few Americans out there. Hughes, Farr, Wallace, Burkhard, Morse. I think I mentioned all of them. Majorek, the Czech. Polish driver, Patrick Dupart. Australian driver, got to shout out Kyle Ridley. Cannot forget Kyle Ridley with the time difference for him up there in P5. 2/10 off of pole. He is strong here and he'll be looking for a good result. The Dutch driver of Eric Mannenveld is a great addition to the grid. Very welcome, very funny. And can't forget, the Dutch driver Alexander van der Velde. We've got a Dane who's not making it today. Donny Alpha Henriksen is Danish. Who else is missing today? We've got another German in Sebastian Holmichael. Jameson Huffman is American. We've got 1 minute left to qualify, and this is looking good for Dan Downing, about to take his first pole position. Vince Cussy says, supporting the Dutch drivers. Love it every time. This is such an underrated series. Get it out there, Vince. Post it around. I'm still waiting for iRacing to jump on this and start streaming it with them. This is our 3rd season, so it's grown. I think we've done pretty well in the first 3 seasons. First season was pretty good. It went way up in quality for season 2. We had a touring car series in between, which again stepped up in quality, and I think that quality then carried over into this season 3. I hope so. I mean, the drivers will be able to speak on this more than me. There's only 20 seconds left of qualifying. This looks like it is it, although Austin Farr is still on a lap there. But he's got Caraday on his inside. He's got Ike Lequay in front of him. He hasn't found a good space in qualifying. He's not going to cross the line anyway. There's 5 seconds left. Daniel Downing is going to take pole position for Goldwing here. And he's got 2 Street Casuals cars behind him who will definitely be... they're going to be licking their lips. I'm fairly certain. I'm just going to double check. Because I know he's up there regularly. That is Daniel Downing's first pole position. So give that man a round of applause. Because Dan Downing for Goldwing takes pole position for Twin Ring Motegi. Let's have a look at the grid. Here's what it looks like then. Daniel Downing, Henry Morse, Eric Mannenveld, all within a 10th of a second, and Stephen King might as well be there as well in P4. Kyle Ridley, Arthur Thurtle, Morgan Burkhard, Andre Majorek, Patrick Dupart, Martin Wallace, John Bailiff, and Joshua Germany breaks into the top 12 there for Pulsar eSports. The next page looks like this. Austin Farr, Burns, Van der Velde, Hughes, Agard, Lequay, Van Olst, Fox in your top 20, Thornton 21st, Corpus 22nd, Amundere and Murray, Otley, Blake, Weiswanger, and Caraday rounding off your grid in 28th place. Jameson Huffman not making it in the end, and the race will start without him. So we need to find a decent TV cam for the start of this race. Easier said than done sometimes with some of these track cams. I think this is going to be the one. Or is it this one? No, it's not that one. Maybe it'll be this one. We can't really see them over the brow of that hill. Cheering for Jerry from Dubai tonight, says Cranny Cart. You're over here. Where are you staying? Go on, Mr. Downing, says Elena VN. Oh, wait, I think I said that wrong. I said that name wrong before. I'm going to stick with it. Elena. I'm just going to commit. I'm going to commit to that. There's 30 seconds left on the timer. Dan Downing is on pole position. He's doing it for his lady, shall we say. TV3 is always good for me because it's far away with a lot of visibility. That's what we're going to... This is currently TV3. It's just the rest of the grid can't really be seen right now. I think we're going to go with TV2 so we can see them all get away safely. 9 seconds left on the clock. The session timer is down. 5 lights are off. And the race is underway. 1 lap of 8. So there's 8 laps for this sprint race. And away they go. And Henry Morse has had an absolute belter of a start. He's already up the inside of Daniel Downing. Eric Mannenveld is looking up. Look, they have got a crossover. Henry Morse looking to get down the inside. Dan Downing moves over again as they head down towards turn 1. Henry Morse down the inside. Dan Downing around the outside. Survives. Oh, everyone taking it nice and safe through there. There's a couple free wide, and there is a... Oh, that is Patrick Dupart, who's off and out round into the wall on lap 1. I said it was safe. Clearly not, as these two stay side by side through the S's. That's dangerous. Eric Mannenveld tries pushing Henry Morse to keep his nose there. He's still on the inside. They're going to go free wide down towards turn 6. Kyle Ridley is going to go around the outside as they go towards it. Who's going to come out on top in this? Carl Ridley swoops around the outside of all 3 of them and takes the lead, or does he? Because Henry Morse is going to come back through and potentially pass him in the Frog Leap Juice racing car. Carl Ridley will be happy with that. Dan Downing has got another run though. And now Henry Morse covers off Carl Ridley on the inside towards the S. That was an insane move from the Frog Leap Juice racing car, who might be moving up into P2 here. But Daniel Downing is not giving up without a fight. Henry Morse takes the lead of this race. He might be on for his first win of the season, like I said at the start. Did I call it? I don't know if I called it or not. Stephen King getting involved as he sends it down the inside of Eric Mannenveld up into P4. They touch on the exit. We've got people swapping over all over the place. I'm fairly certain most people have kept it on track. And Patrick Dupart is back in the race, although he likely have a meatball as we head back towards turn 11. This is the final corner. That is Arthur Thurtle with John Bailiff round his outside. Arthur Thurtle's got Morgan Burkhardt's slipstream. John Bailiff's got Stephen King's slipstream. Andre Mayerek, they're all slipstreaming each other down the back straight. This is what it looks like from the nose cam of John Bailiff. He's got a car on his inside. That is Arthur Thurtle, the number 70 car, Project Dynamic. He brakes later. Can he hold it around the outside? He's going to have to give room on the apex. And look at the run that Arthur has there on his right hand side. This is a dangerous corner to hold it around the outside of, and Arthur does slot in front. He carries that speed through, doesn't lift off as much. John trying every which way. This is what it looks like. This is how stressful it gets inside the car. Look at the limited visibility with the big bulky road car dash as we see 165 kilometers an hour. Arthur might be making a move on Morgan here. I doubt it, because he's just going to help his teammate. So he's probably just going to keep a bumper as John brakes as late as he dares down into third, down into up into fourth, sorry, on the exit of the corner. This is what it looks like from behind John Bailiff's car. It's Andre Mayerek and Joshua Germany there in P10. Martin Wallace in P11. Austin Farr in P12 in prime position to start the reverse race in pole position. That's the feature race after this, the reverse top 12, of course. Let's go back to the racing action now that it's started to settle down. I'll tell you what I haven't had on for ages. There you go. You can have a track map. They're all still out there. Dupart didn't pit. He is still in this race. So lap 2 of 8. Patrick Dupart's up into 27th. He's passed Caraday. Shall we have a look at what happened to that man now that it's starting to settle down out here? I've got a feeling he would have come across someone's nose. Was it free wide? He exits that corner. Yeah. Oh, that's unfortunate. He just had a car there on his outside just about. It's going to be classed as a racing incident from first look. Let's have one more look at it. Let's go from Austin Farr's nose. So you can see here, this isn't really an attempt at an overtake, but at this point he is there, and then he just moves over, and it's such a slight touch, but the wall is so close, and that is Patrick's high qualifying done, although he has just moved up another position. It's going to be classed as a racing incident, I think. Again, all these incidents get watched properly at the end, but this is your current order. Look at the train. John Bailiff is under pressure from Andre Mayerek here. Jake Cranston is in chat. He's watching closely from Dubai, which is good. Where are you staying, Jake? Let me know. I might know where it is, although I haven't been here that long. Look at Duncan Murray racing Greg Otley there in 23rd place. Patrick Dupart is going to be catching these two. His car somehow seems to have survived that impact. He's got pace still. He's up into 25th, is Patrick. He's missing a hood. Maybe it's weight saving. Oh, Greg Otley switches sides to have a look round Duncan Murray's outside there in the Goldwing car. He's trying to throw him off. What can Greg do through this section as he comes through the S's? He's heading down towards turn 10, which is a hairpin. Is he going to look up the inside? He tries spooking Duncan. Gets close on the brakes, does Greg. And now he needs to get the best exit he can. And I think he has got a better exit as Duncan runs slightly wide. Ridley and Manenveld are battling up in P3 or 4. We should go and see them, really, because they should have just exited the hairpin, which means they're going to be racing down towards turn 1. Greg Otley can't quite do it. Here's what it looks like at the front. It's Manenveld and Ridley. Manenveld on the inside is about to take P3, but the outside line, because of the way this corner goes, is slightly stronger as long as room is given. Eric Manenveld tries to go around, but now he's on the inside for turn 2. Kyle Ridley, look at that, holds it in, keeps his foot pinned, and now he's on the inside for the left. Oh, it's going to get feisty through here. I'm not sure who's going to come out on top. Eric has the inside now, and then Carl has the inside again. They're getting really close through the S's. It's pretty much flat out through there, but if you race side by side, you lose momentum. And now look at Morgan Burkhardt come through. Look at the pace he's got. Morgan Burkhardt passes Stephen King, who is held up by the 2 cars. Going slowly. Stephen tries to make it 3 wide, or does he? No, Carl survives, and Stephen King is going to lose out of position there to Morgan and potentially Arthur Thurtle as Eric Manenveld moves up into P3. Carl Ridley slots into P4. Stephen King has been good this season at surviving to fight another day, but he will be frustrated with losing that position there as John Bailiff now looking around the outside of the Project Dynamic car of Arthur Thurtle up the inside of turn 9. He's going to have the outside for the hairpin. This is very, very interesting. Jake says, I'm in Studio City in a tower, no idea what it's called. 1v1 me on the kart track this week. Deal, I will do that, no problem. I will. How long are you here for? Let me know and I will come over. Wednesday nights they have an Iron Man. I could do that. We could do that around 7 o'clock. But let's get back to this racing, because John Bailiff and the Project Dynamic car of Arthur Thurtle are still going at it, as is Majorek, as is Germany, and Van der Velde comes into the pits. That will be with some sort of meatball. And I haven't seen an issue. Oh, I have seen an issue for Van der Velde. We'll have a look at the replay in a second. But can Arthur hold on to this round the outside of turn 1 as we're already on lap 5 of 8? Oh, there was a little bit of contact there, I think, as Arthur runs a little bit wide. John Bailiff is not giving up on this position. He's on the inside of 2. Arthur will be on the inside of 3. I love this track for racing, and I'm with Jake. I'm a little bit jealous of this as they're all racing side by side. And I'll tell you what, the standard... well, I'm going to say this before we look at Alex van der Velde's crash. They're 3 wide on the exit of that S there behind. That was Wallace, Majorek and Austin Farr. And Stephen Burns is going to get involved. There's a bit of a touch there from Andre and Wallace as they just lean on each other as they head towards turn 6. Martin bumps Joshua Germany. They're still 3 wide. Austin Farr, Stephen Burns, Martin Wallace 3 wide on the exit. They're going to need to try and hold it if they can. And now Austin Farr's on the inside of Martin Wallace. He's going to be on the outside of the next corner. It's just constant left, right, Sam Van Olst is going to be under pressure from Andy Fox fairly soon, and Jerry Agard's up there in P16 as well. There's so much action here at Twin Ring Motegi. I'm genuinely struggling to keep up. You can see the timing screen on your left hand side. You've also got you should have anyway. Oh, there's contact again for Austin Farr as he gets punted wide. You should have a live timing link if you scroll up in your chats. I definitely posted it, but look at this, 2 by 2. Sam Van Olst has chosen to push Wallace down towards turn 11, the hairpin. And then Wallace does lead on the exit. Stephen Burns now, though, around the outside of Sam Van Olst as Greg Otley and Jesus Amundere are also racing it out of the hairpin. Otley's got that position. Dupart is trying to get through. Dan Blake is trying to get through. Dupart is now up into 24th. If he can keep it clean, he will keep climbing. Any places that he can gain in this race will improve his starting position for the feature when he will get a brand new car, of course, as Austin Farr and Jerry Agard are racing through the S's. Austin Farr's just been battered and bruised. He's currently in 15th. He's still going to be in 15th on the exit of that corner as Jerry lifts off. Let's have a look at what happened to Alexander van der Velde. Ooh, if that's a meatball, that is unlucky. He doesn't hit the wall on exit. Oh, that's a shame. It looks like they just went 3 wide. And then this contact here where Corpus moves a little bit. Well, he doesn't actually move that much on Lequay. It's just a 3 wide going into 1. And that contact right there would have given Van der Velde a meatball, which is why he came into the pits. That's unlucky. Unlucky for that man. Right, back to it. Dan Downing is still... Let's have a look at your lead fight, because Dan Downing is not letting Henry Morse get away with it. This is what it looks like at the front. Dan Downing is absolutely hounding the Street Casuals car of Henry Morse, the number 14, as they go onto the main straight. They're about to tick over onto lap 7 of 8 for this first sprint race. Eric Mannenfeld is a nice cushion behind. Kyle Ridley, Morgan Burkhardt and Stephen King, Arthur Thurtle, Bailiff Mayerek and Germany, your top 10 as Dan Downing looks to the outside. He's putting the pressure on. Henry Morse half defends. Dan Downing tries to get a little bit of a switchback, gets a smoother exit as they go towards turn 2. Dab of the brakes, get it chucked in. Let's have a look actually at the dashboard. This is what it looks like. Big lift for Dan. So Henry gains through that left. And then he actually gains a little bit through those whole S's, but now Dan Downing's in slipstream, so we should see that gap close back down. Bobo says, how's my man Greg doing? Greg Otley is currently in 22nd, chasing down Ika Lequay for Lurchus Gaming. Still very much in the train as Dan Downing gives Henry a little bump there through turn 6. Approaching the flat out 7. Still watching that gap. 2.5 tenths. Van Olst and Corpus are swapping over. Your lead fight very much on. I know as soon as I cut away from this, those two will start fighting, but Mayerek and Bailiff still looking really close. Joshua Germany in P10. Wallace and Burns currently in your front row position for the next race. Absolute Motorsport with the strong arms explosion. Do you know what? It doesn't tell me where everyone is watching from. I can see numbers across all 4 channels, VCO eSports and the Racing Line. But when you're in chat, I can just see whether you're on Twitch or YouTube. I don't know where, but we're welcoming you all in chat to celebrate these guys, because we've got 3 rounds left and the racing has been insane here. Love this track. This is what it looks like at the front. Henry Morse defends to the inside again. Dan Downing all over the back of him. Really wants to try and take this win. Either one of these two, if they win. In fact, either one of the top 4 right now, if they win, it's the first win of the season, and we get ourselves a 7th winner in 8 rounds. So, pick who you're rooting for. Street Casuals 14, Street Casuals 32, Goldwing 17, or Frog Leap Juiced Racing 27. Morgan Burkhardt and Stephen King. Oh, Stephen King hasn't got a win. He's number 11 as Dan Downing swoops to the outside. And I think that's Burkhardt making a move on Ridley around the outside of 6. Oh, he's nearly gets squeezed on the exit, and now he's in the flat-out corner. This is going to be tight between these two on the exit. There's flat out through here, but Morgan Burkhardt's going to have the inside for the next S. If Kyle can hold it around the outside, then he will have the inside to the next one. This is how it works, as Dan Downing is also side by side with Henry Morse. He's on the inside. That's the lead fight up ahead. Look at them all 2 by 2. Dan Downing is going to have the inside to the hairpin. Has he got crossover? He needs to be late on the brakes. Dan sends it down the inside of Henry Morse as Eric Mannenfeld has a look around the outside. This is the final lap. This is for the win on the final lap. Lap 8 of 8. Dan Downing is on the wrong side though. Eric Mannenfeld is going to try and push Henry through. It's Street Casuals 2v1 on Dan Downing, who's on the outside of turn 11. Who's going to come out on top? Kyle has lost out. Morgan Burkhardt's up into P4, and Henry Morse swoops over to the right hand side. Dan Downing's going to get a run on the exit. Who's going to cross the line first? It is Henry Morse, Dan Downing, Eric Mannenfeld, Morgan Burkhardt, Stephen King, Kyle Ridley and Arthur Thurtle. Before it ticks over, I want to have a look at... Can I have a look at Kyle Ridley and Morgan Burkhardt? If it cuts us off, it cuts us off. But let's have a look at what happened here. Morgan leans over on Kyle there into... This is turn 10. Oh, and then he does just cut across. So Kyle... Well, they didn't make contact when he cut across, but then Steven somehow got Kyle again. I think this is the second time it's happened this season. Kyle looks at the inside of Morgan. Oh, Steven, you know what? He was very lucky there, I think. If I'm not mistaken, I could have this wrong. So we did manage to see how that ended. And we've got a bit of a break now, so we can digest it. If I'm not mistaken, and if any of the drivers are in chat, remind me here. And for those of you that have followed the Racing Line series before, you'll know this. And if you haven't, don't worry. But I'm going to plug it again. I highly suggest having a look at the RLTC playlist and having a look at some of those races, especially the later half of the season. But if I'm not mistaken, here at Twin Ring Motegi, I think Kyle Ridley stole Stephen King's win on the final lap out of that final corner. So I feel like it's poetic justice that maybe Stephen King just stole that. It wasn't a win, but stole a position from Kyle there on the exit of the final corner. I think in the same way that Kyle did it to him. I'm saying I think because I'm not entirely sure, but I feel like that happened in my head, and I wouldn't have made it up completely. This is your result. Henry Morse takes his first win of the season. He does make it 7 new winners across 8 rounds so far. Daniel Downing takes a P2. He will be both frustrated and buzzing with that. Eric Mannenfeld takes a podium as well with his P3. Morgan Burkhardt does get up into P4 at the end. Stephen King holds on to P5. Kyle Ridley in P6. Jake Cranston will be watching closely. Morgan Burkhardt, Stephen King, and John Bailiff. He'll be happy that none of them have won this race, but of course we've got another race which is longer and with a pit stop next. Those top 5, top 6 even, all pretty much within a second. Arthur Thurtle, on his return, finishes P7, so he'll be happy with that for Project Dynamic. That's 2 Project Dynamics in the top 10. John Bailiff is in P8. Andre Marek in P9 continues his strong form in the top 10s. Patrick Depart arguably would have been up there as well if not for the incident on lap 1. Joshua Germany does bring it home in P10, so he'll be starting the feature race in P3. Martin Wallace will be starting in P2 as he finished P11. And Stephen Burns will be starting, I think, for the second time this season. I feel like Stephen's been up there before. He's definitely had a reverse pole before. I'm 100% certain. Stephen Burns, another reverse pole for him for Win It or Bin It Racing. Andy Fox just missing out in P13. That'll be frustrating. They could have had 3 Win It or Bin It cars. If just one more incident up ahead, I don't think anyone out in that top 10 is out of place, to be honest, the top 11. But just one more position they would have needed to have 3 Win It or Bin It cars up there. That would have been great for the team. P14 goes to Austin Farr. Jerry Agard, the Swiss driver, in P15. He'll be happy with that. Dan Thornton is up there in P16. That's a great race for him. He's in the top half. He'll be happy with that. I can imagine Dan will be happy with that. I'm not sure how his race went in terms of cleanliness, but it must have gone well if he's in P16. Brandon Hughes in P17 should also be happy. It looks fairly close between all 3 of these. Dan Thornton, the head of this train. In fact, actually, no. Do you know what? Looking at these times when they crossed the line, Andy Fox was 1/10 ahead of Austin Farr, who was 2 tenths ahead of Jerry Agard, who was 3 tenths ahead of Dan Thornton, who was 3 tenths ahead of Hughes, who was 2 tenths ahead of Van Os. So that is a very close train of cars behind Andy Fox there, all fighting for position. So Dan will be happy with that. The rest of the grid is as follows. We have Corpus, Murray, Lequay, Otley, Amundere, Depart up to 24th. Blake, Caraday, Weisbanger, and Van der Velde after his meatball. He's the only one that had a meatball in that race. Very unlucky as well. We saw it happen, and it didn't look like it should have been a meatball, to be honest. But there he is. He's going to have a tall order. In fact, he didn't have a good race at Long Beach either. The poor guy. He's going to be he's going to be getting frustrated, I think, is Alexander Van der Velde. There's a couple of cars out on track. I wonder if they're going to be practicing the pit entry. As I say that, Dan Downing is coming into the pits. They have been told. So here's a little thing for iRacing if they're watching. That, right there for Daniel Downing, would have been a disqualification from the race result. Because he cut the yellow line. They've all been told to follow it. In fact, I don't normally do this on stream, but shall I do it? Watch this. I'm going to message them all. A reminder about pit lane line. Hashtag 17 would be DSQ'd. There we go. Just for the jokes. It's not for the jokes. That rule is actually in place, but there we go. I've sent it to all of them, and we can see if they respond. If he jumps in chat and says hello. Vince Cussy says, very nice for Mannenfeld supporting the Dutch drivers. Yes, a P3 is a strong result. Strong result. Greg Otley's out there getting some times in. Practicing. We didn't see much of the ZFG cars in the later half of the race, even though Martin Wallace was up there, so well done to him. ZFG normally in chat in their gang. We got Lurchus Gaming normally in chat a lot. ZFG are normally out there. Avavoom. We've got for Guelfio and all that, for Lurchus Gaming are normally out there. And I'm welcoming all of the new guys as well. Cranny Cart is obviously watching because he's not racing. Christoph Plays is normally in chat. He hasn't popped in and said hello today. I wonder if he's missing it. Someone tweet that man. Christev Plays. I think he retweeted us earlier. But he seems to be missing out on a great round so far. And thank you to all of those that have stuck around. Whether you're watching on the Racing Line YouTube or Twitch, or VCO eSports YouTube or Twitch. Very much appreciated. In 3 minutes' time, the feature race will begin. It's twice as long as the sprint. And there's a pit stop involved. They only need to get fuel. They don't need to change tyres. And they can only pit after lap 5. Greg Otley would not be disqualified. He kept it in the in the yellow lines. Anyone else practicing a pit entry? Let's have a look. Jan Weiswang is getting close to the pits. Let's see if the Meatball Motorsport car, half pink, half green. A little bit of purple, a little bit of black. Is he going to go in? Yeah, let's have a look at this. Safe. No disqualification for that man. Just to clarify on the ruling, it's not often that we put rules like this in. But this track... I've lost Henry Morse. I was going to look at him come into the pits. I missed it. This track, get it out, Jack. Come on, this track. Twin Ring Motegi has a pit lane, right? It's a hairpin. The speed limit cones, if we watch Eric Mannenfeld, it'll be easier to explain. So he's coming around the final corner now. You'll see the yellow speed limit cones as you come into the pit lane, okay? But what you can do here, for some reason, iRacing allows this. You don't have to follow the yellow line. You can just chuck a 90-degree right and cut straight across, and the speed limit doesn't apply for that little bit of zone. Right, so here we go. We go in. You've got the yellow cones. You can just chuck it right there, not follow these yellow lines, and you can then just cut across this whole car park and then come out there at the pit garage. And you don't get a 1x, you don't get a slowdown, you don't get a penalty, and you don't actually have to slow down until you're in this part. So little things like that is why we sometimes have to put a different ruling in the stewards room briefing, which they should all read. They should all be aware. I'll be gutted to disqualify anyone after this race for crossing that line. Touching it with their left wheel, I believe was the wording. If their left wheel touches that yellow line, you'll be deemed gaining an advantage and disqualified from the event. Now the smarter drivers will know that they can play it safe by just keeping their right wheels on it. But you know what drivers are like. They're going to try and find every tenth they can and maybe try and just cut it a little bit finer. And if I'm honest, I'm a little bit worried about someone's rear left touching it because they misjudged the length of their car. As we see Caraday come in, yeah, keeps it nice and safe. Vince Gussie working on becoming a regular viewer. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. We've got 2 rounds left after this. We go to Okayama Full and then Oran Park. Oran Park is always a stunner. This is the grid. Stephen Burns, Martin Wallace, Joshua Germany, Andre Marek, your top 4. John Bailiff, Thurtle, Ridley, King, Burkhard, Mannenfeld, Downing and Morse. Your top 12. Fox, Farr, Agar, Thornton, Hughes, Van Olst, Corpus, Murray, Lequay, Otley, Amundere, Depart. Your top 24 and your final 4, Dan Blake, Caraday, Weiswanger and Alexander van der Velde. Keep an eye on Alex. I hope he keeps it clean and can have a good race and see how many positions that he will gain. 30 seconds, 40 seconds on the clock, so there's 20 seconds left before those lights come on. They might come on earlier if everyone's on the grid, which they are. So the lights are coming on now. Here they are. Burns and Wallace on your front row. Place your bets, people. 5 lights are on and away they go, and the race has started. Lap 1 of 16 as someone moves over straight away. That's John Bailiff there, moving across on someone straight away to defend the inside. Joshua Germany seems to have had a good start. He's already alongside Andre Marek. He's going to be alongside Martin Wallace. He's going to go up into P2. He gets a bit of a push from John Bailiff behind. And now he's on. Oh, he's in a dangerous place now. He's on the outside of turn 2. Martin Wallace is going to try and hold it. Joshua Germany sweeps around the outside. He's on the inside of 3. He's going to have the high ground on Martin Wallace there. Joshua Germany moves up into P2, and now Stephen Burns is ahead of him there in the Scottish Win It or Bin It Mobile in the lead of this race. He's holding on to that lead is Stephen Burns. Look at all of the Jettas come out of that turn. You got 28 of them there. Alexander Van der Velde is already up into 24th as Duncan Murray is slowing down. Wallace and Bailiff side by side. Bailiff round the outside of Wallace, who's under pressure in the ZFG machine. ORD, Andre Mayerek's there. Kyle Ridley's up there as well. Morgan Burkhardt and Thurtle. People will be keeping a close eye. Keep an eye on Burkhardt, King and Bailiff. They are your current championship P2 fighters as Joshua Germany looks up the inside of Stephen Burns straight away into the S's. He's now going to try and hold it around the outside towards the hairpin. I don't think he's got his nose there. No, he doesn't. Can he get down the inside of it? John Bailiff is on the inside as well of Martin Wallace. They are still side by side, these two. It's 2 by 2 behind. Stephen Burns and Josh could actually pull away from this gang if they don't battle too hard, but Martin Wallace is not letting this P3 go. He's really fighting John, and so he should. But Maninveld, King and Downing shuffle around a little bit there in the back as well at turn 11. This track looks like a lot like the Nürburgring GP track with some of these shots, says Vince Cussy. Let's go ZFG, says Hobby. Raccoon, what are the dates for the final 2 rounds? It's every week now for the, so next week and the week after. Same day, same time. Monday nights at the same time, I believe it is. Well, depending on where you're watching, but it's 8:15 UK time. Maninveld and King. Oh, side by side. Maninveld getting a little bit of a touch there on the exit. Might be a meatball. Be unfortunate if it was. It was a slight touch. Dan Downing. Wow, what an opportunistic move. Henry Morse as well. And Austin Farler. Three street casuals cars together there. We've got purple sectors from John in Sector 1. We've got a purple Sector 2 from Joshua Germany. Although we haven't crossed that, so that might have been last lap. Duncan Murray has a purple sector down there in 27th place somehow. Alexander Van der Velde is up in 22nd. What is happening with Duncan Murray? Why is he losing position? He's got meatballs all over him. Ika Lequay and Yusa Samundere, the Lurchus Gaming cars, here they are in shot, side by side through turn 7. Mawson Manningveld still side by side. I'm going to guess Manningveld's going to let him have it. No team orders at Street Casuals. All 3 of them racing hard there in 11th, 12th and 13th. They just need a strong finish. There's 3 cars versus 2. The team they're fighting, Pulsus eSports. Where are Pulsus eSports? Stephen King's in P9. Joshua Germany is currently in P2. Ika Lequay and Yeez are still fighting as well. No team orders across the board. Depart and Thornton are next to each other on track as well. 2 ORD cars fighting for position as they have a look at Corpus. Vinolst and Fox are fighting it out into the hairpin. I think Vinolst has made a move. Corpus and Depart have a little bit of a touch on the exit of the hairpin. The ORD car is on the outside as the sun is setting once again here. The sun was setting at Long Beach. So now we've got a sun setting here at Twin Ring Motegi as Josh nearly had the lead around the outside. I think he broke deep and now he's vulnerable to John Bailiff. Stephen Burns, his teammate, he's on the inside. Is Josh? The headlights come on. So it is getting a little bit dark out there. I wonder if we'll be finishing this race at night. Wasn't planned. Another perhaps happy accident, or maybe it'll look terrible in the photos. I don't know. But John Bailiff will be looking to the inside of Josh here easily. And if Josh lets him have it, that'll be sad to see. And it looks like, oh, he's going to try and hold it around the outside as John leans on his rear, and now he's going to have the inside for the next corner. So Josh, I think, is fighting this. Let's have a look at the nose cam of John. Yeah, Josh keeps that position. We have seen Josh give up at Long Beach, Mr. Germany, but he is fighting this one very well. And John will be doing this for his, not only for himself, but also for his teammate, as we see Morgan Burkhardt fighting with Martin Wallace behind. I think he's on the inside of the hairpin. He is. Morgan's about to gain a position. Oh, look at the brakes on Martin Wallace as he tries to go around the outside. He's still got his car there as the American driver for ZFG. Carl Ridley, I think, is going to follow Wallace through. He needs to pick one of those drivers to chase. But Josh will be feeling the pressure from this man for sure. John didn't have a great race last time out. It was a DNF in the sprint pretty much for John Bailiff, and then he climbed back up in the feature but lost a lot of points and dropped from 2nd to P4 as we see them all shuffling over. But Martin, once again, really not giving this up. And like I said, so he should for ZFG. But Morgan just swoops around the outside. Carl Ridley now still on his outside. Martin Wallace is going to fight again. Look at that. Bouncing round turn 2. And then, but Carl Ridley does have the high ground now. Martin just needs to slot in play it safe. I think Stephen King and Arthur Thurtle are having a little fight here. Look at that, through the S's. Oh, Dan Downing will be taking advantage of that as we see Caraday and Weiswanger in the pits. I believe they crashed, maybe with each other, as Dan Downing, no way. Is he going to look to the inside of Thurtle? I think he might. They're 3 wide down towards turn 6. That's not going to end well for someone. And Stephen King once again shuffled out by being the outside car of a 3 wide battle. And we've seen that before. And he loses out every time. But Dan Downing gains the position on both of them. So worth it, I would say. Arthur Thurtle looking to get it back, though. As we see these two, well, Joshua Germany's pulled away from John again, who's now fighting Morgan. That's why. So John and Morgan will be fighting here hard because these two are fighting for P2. Joshua Germany is not in the P2 fight, so I think John is doing the right thing here and fighting the American driver and Morgan Burkhardt for Project Dynamic. They've got Carl Ridley behind, who's also not involved. So John will be trying to pressure Morgan into racing Kyle so that he can then chase. Oh, it's a mind game filled out there. It really is. There's mind games all over the place, but Joshua Germany is closing back in on Stephen Burns. He said he had no pace here. He might be on for a feature race win, but Stephen Burns will be doing everything he can to claim his first win. Are we going to see 2 new winners here today? As Morgan Burkhardt looks to the inside of John Bailiff, can't get it done. John's nice and late on the brakes. Carl Ridley's still within a shot. Martin Wallace is still there. Andre Mayerek, Dan Downing, who just gained 2 positions on Thurtle and King. Morse and Manetfeld are still together. Austin Farr has had an issue because he has dropped down the order, and all 3 of the Street Casuals cars were together. Let's have a quick look at what happened to Jan Weiswanger out there on track. Caraday and Weiswanger. Oh, is it Duncan? I'm not sure what happens here. Duncan Murray swoops around the outside, turns across his nose. Oh, I'm not sure who. Did someone go off track there as well? Oh, Caraday span by himself. That is Meatball Motorsport things right there. That was weird. They both spun. They both spun. They both would have had a meatball from that. We can check the meatballs, but we'll do that after post-race. Let's have a look at this then. Stephen King trying to get past the Brit of Arthur Thurtle, and Henry Morse just takes the inside. And the fight continues. It goes on, and Dan Downing comes into the pits. He's going to be the first pit stopper. He's get his right wheels on there. He's learnt from his mistake in the pit lane. Arthur Thurtle comes into the pits as well. It's going to be impossible to watch all of the pitters whilst they are coming in. We've got a few people in actually, so it's lap 6 now, so they are allowed to pit. But what does it look like up the front? That's a very close shot of Stephen Burns. Joshua Germany is right behind him. As we look at the tartan rear wing of the Win It or Bin It car there. And that is Joshua Germany for Posters eSports, John Bailiff and Morgan Burkhardt and Ridley still right behind. Look at love the flow of those S's as they come through turns 2, 3, 4 and 5. And the people who have pit stop are now back out on track. We saw a 10.3 second stop there. That was, I didn't see which car it was. You can see the pit lane timer at the bottom. Pay attention to those because you can normally see who's going to jump who. As we've seen some people do 8-second pit stops, playing it risky on fuel. But these guys should be settling into a rhythm as to not lose places, as Morgan Burkhardt behind is fighting John Bailiff. He's on the inside for the hairpin. Is John going to let that go? Or is he going to try and fight it again? He's trying to go around the outside. Morgan Burkhardt's on the inside. He's got the move done. So John has lost the position to Morgan Burkhardt, who's now up into P3. Arthur Thurtle and Andy Fox, who have both pit, are fighting down there somewhere. Let's have a look at your pit times and pit stops. There's pit stops. There is pit times. That's what it looks like. So a 9.5 second stop for Alexander van der Velde. Carl Ridley comes into the pits. There he is. He's stopped. There he is, the Frog Leap Juice racing car. He's in there by himself. What's his stop going to be? It was 9.4. Carl Ridley normally does a quick stop. That is the quickest stop of the race so far for Frog Leap Juice Racing. The Australian driver, Joshua Germany, is right behind. Dan Blake is also in the pits. Let's see how long he's in there for. Keep an eye on that timer. It's 9 seconds. 9.2 for Dan Blake. That's a new fastest pit stop time. It says 9.3 at the bottom, 9.2 on the left. That might be close on fuel. I'm not sure what we're aiming for in terms of pit stop times. Is the yellow line hard limit or one tyre inside kind of thing? Burns driving the race of his life. Go on, lad. He really is defending from Joshua Germany. I don't know if they're playing it safe or not. Kakula's saying about the rule. It is a left wheel hard limit. If the right wheel crosses it, it would have been just too stingy to manage. It's people that are trying to gain too much of an advantage. If the left wheel touches the left line, it will probably end up being a disqualification. Kakula, if you want to keep an eye, well, don't keep an eye on that. Take some nice pictures first. Christoph Play says, good evening. I am late this time. You are. Where is Jake Cranston? Says Ostat Bender 7. He's currently in Dubai. He's missing this round. And next is the current championship leader and two-time Jetta Cup champion. But he does have over 100-point lead, of which Burkhardt, Bailiff and King are going to try and take advantage of this whilst he's away and close that gap. But it is not out of the question that he could win this season. And a lot of the drivers actually, I say a lot of the drivers, those top three that I just mentioned, are still fearful that he might win even with the 2-week break. So he'll be pleased to know that. That'll inflate his ego. Maybe it'll get in his head and he'll mess up at Oran Park. As I said, Oran Park always throws up some good racing. We'll see what happens. Anyway, back to these guys. Burns first, Germany second, Burkhardt third. Burkhardt normally he's a practicer, I know that much. He practices a lot, which means he's going to nail his pit stop, and he is right behind these two, so it really will come down to pit stops here. Or is he going to try and fight them for position, because he's right behind them now. The top three glued to each other. John Bailiff fighting Wallace and Mayerek behind. Morgan Burkhardt looking to gain through it. It might actually be dark at the end. My ego is all warm and fuzzy. Thanks, guys. I said everyone. I don't know if it was everyone, but definitely someone has mentioned it before. A couple of them. So they're scared of that points lead you got. Mr. Cranston, who's in chat. Say hello, people, if you want to speak to your current championship leader, because he's not doing anything right now. Benjamin Stanley Watts says, hello, JJ. Hello. Martin Wallace and Andre Mayerek come into the pit lane. And Henry Morse. So keep an eye on them. Who's your current leader in terms of pit stoppers? It is Carl Ridley, who's only 4 attempts ahead of Dan Downing with a 9.4 and a 9.6 second stop. We could keep an eye on them to see where they go, but I've just got a feeling that something's going to happen in this top 3 as Joshua Germany looks to make a move on Stephen Burns. Goes to the outside of turn 1. Can he hold it there and get the run? He's going to try it as Morgan Burkhardt sticks his nose in almost 3 wide towards turn 2. Joshua's pulled this move off before. He goes around the outside of turn 2. There's a bit of a nudge on the exit. Joshua Germany goes through on the inside of turn 3. Now Morgan Burkhardt's going to try and capitalise as well. Oh, a touch. That was close. Stephen Burns really is driving well. He holds on to P2. Morgan Burkhardt doesn't risk it as he knows if that spin happened, it may have been a penalty for that man and he can't afford it. Morgan Burkhardt and John Bailiff together, and now watch Stephen Burns because his teammate is right behind Morgan and they're fighting for championship position. He can let the win get away from him if he wants to, but he cannot let Morgan pass without letting John pass first if they want to play the team game. Kyle Ridley still very much leading the pit stoppers. 9.2 is still the quickest stop from Dan Blake. Maybe cutting it fine in fuel, but there's a 9.4 out there. There's a couple of 9-second stops, so it should be fine. Hello to all the other channels. I joined late and I see an amazing top 3. Morse went past the pit box. RIP, says Kakula. Henry Morse has been having a strong race, and it looks like I've missed a moment to catch him reversing to his pit box. Maybe we could. Wow, look at this. Look, they all come in. Keep your left wheels away from that yellow line, boys. It's really not worth it. And this is your leaders. Let's have a look at Carl Ridley because he is coming down the back stretch. How far ahead are these guys going to come out? It's going to depend on their stop times. Keep an eye on the timers. Look, they've all come in the pits at the same time. 9.5 for Burkhardt, 9.6 for Germany, Burns 9.4, Bailiff 8.8 for John Bailiff. That's quick. And they're going to come out. There's Kyle Ridley. He's got the speed. Is he going to pass anyone down towards turn 1? Kyle Ridley, who pit stop earlier. He's going to go down the inside of Bailiff. Is he going to get Burns as well? Dan Downing's going to get the run on Bailiff as well. 3 wide towards turn 1. The outside is never going to work there when they're that close together. Stephen Burns is going to maybe lose out on a position here to Burkhardt. He does. Kyle Ridley swoops around the outside of Burns and up into P5, sorry. There's something about this circuit and Kyle Ridley that sets him alive. Stephen Burns now and Dan Downing and John Bailiff fighting it out here in P6, 7 and 8. Sorry, Mayerek and Wallace are still there. This is your top 10. Top 8, sorry, because 2 of them haven't pit. All together on track after your pit stops. These are all for position now. Top 8 finishers, 2 wide, 3 wide as they come through the S's. What a strat from Ridley. He pit early and he got the run down the main straight. He's back up into P5 and he's right on the tail of Morgan Burkhardt. He's currently in P3 realistically because Van Olst and Farr have not pit. Remember that. They're now in the pit lane. They've cut it fine. Who is leading? Let's go on Morgan Burkhardt's nose for this main pit straight. They've got 6 laps left of this race. That is going to seem like an eternity for Joshua Germany, who is currently leading this race. He got a load of stick for not defending anyone in Long Beach, and he admitted to not doing it. I don't know why. He just gave up. He needs to put up the fight of his life again. If this was Jake Cranston, we would have seen him defending everything he can. Is he going to do it for Morgan? They've already passed him. Van Olsten Farr right down to P9 and P11. So these guys right out in front, and now your order is all pretty much set. Your pit stops are done. It's all clear. Everyone has stopped. This is your real race order. That all disappears on the left-hand side. Germany, Burkhardt, Ridley. Ridley needs to make a move for P2 here. He's got the pace, and Burkhardt has got the championship pressure. It's not phased him before as he goes to the outside. This is a strong position for Burkhardt to be in. Josh needs to move over and open up the corner in the Pulsar eSports car, but Burkhardt's going to sweep around the outside of turn 6. Can Josh lean on him on the exit? He gets nice and close, but Burkhardt's going to have the run through turn 7. We've seen him pull this move off on a couple of people. Joshua Germany is now in danger as they go through towards turn 8. Who's going to break later into the left-hander or right-hander? It's Joshua Germany who swoops around the outside. He's going to have the inside of 9. He's done well there. He holds on to it. He's going to break a little bit on the exit. And is he going to defend the hairpin? He does defend the hairpin. Morgan Burkhardt is now on the outside. He's forced him around the outside of turn 10. Look at him cut in and try and get an overlap. And Joshua Germany tries to move over on him but can't. But has he got the run down? Can he move over on him down towards turn 11? It doesn't look like he can. He's going to have to try and hold it around the outside of the final hairpin. Hopefully no contact to ruin anyone's run. Takes a nice wide line as Joshua Germany tries to get the exit. But can he get the run down towards turn 1? I think he has got a bit of the speed. Kyle Ridley's going to pick a driver to push. Who's he going to pick? He doesn't push anyone. Is he going to make it 3 wide down towards turn 1? I think he might do. Kyle Ridley's out for himself. He's going to go down the inside of both of them. He's on the inside for turn 1. Kyle Ridley sends it down the inside of turn 1. He's got Joshua Germany around his outside. And we've seen Josh's strong round turn 2. There he goes. He holds it. He goes deep. He's going to keep the lead into turn 3. Joshua Germany holds on to the lead. Kyle Ridley in P2 and Morgan Burkhardt in P3. Now look who's back in the fight. It's Dan Downing in P4. He's having the race of his life. I said Kyle Ridley's got something special about this circuit, but Dan Downing is having an absolute belter of a round as Joshua Germany sweeps to the inside to defend. Kyle Ridley goes to the outside of turn 6, and it's going to be a repeat of that all over again as Josh tries to lean on him on the exit, and Kyle Ridley now has the outside of turn 7 but the inside for turn 8. I cannot take my eyes off of this lead fight. There's battling across the field, and Joshua Germany is going to try and break as late as he dares again into turn 8 to have the inside of turn 9. Can he repeat what he did to Morgan? He can. He's got the inside of 9, and on the exit they go. I can see chat moving on my right hand side, but I can't really read it because Kyle is all over the bumper of Joshua Germany as he nudges him. John Bailiff goes up the inside of Dan Downing and up into P4. That's going to be a hell of a move if he can hold it around the outside of the next hairpin. Jetta's once again providing amazing racing, says Vince. Let's see if I can catch up. Doing good. What a strap from Ridley. Glad to see you. Fell asleep during the stomachache. I woke up just now. This sucks. Christoph, are you feeling any better? They're all talking about what a move by Kyle it was. Jettas can cure anything. P5. The curb launching in these things is insane. There we go. I've caught up on chat. There's 3 laps to go. Joshua Germany leads. Kyle Ridley second. Morgan Burkhardt, Dan Downing, John Bailiff. What is going to happen in this race? I do not know. But this round is firmly cementing itself in any series that we do, because Twin Ring Motegi East is now becoming a staple, really, of any season we've done, whether people like it, whether the drivers like it or not. I'm hoping they're liking this fight, although I cannot, for the life of me, comment on anyone down in the bottom half, because I just can't take my eyes off of this, because Kyle Ridley is absolutely going to do any move that he can to get this position. Stephen Burns is still up there in P8. He will be having a good result. Andy Fox is down in P18. Greg Otley's up into P17. Hughes is in P15. He will be happy, as Kyle again looking for any gap that he can on Joshua Germany, who will be getting a massive round of applause. Oh, I'll tell you what this is a good time for. There you go. Have your driver of the day vote, people. Full-time chat reader, part-time commentator Jack. There you go. Driver of the day. Click that link. Pick who is your driver. You got 3 laps left to make a choice, as Morgan Burkhardt, I missed it because I was reading chat and posting that link, but Morgan Burkhardt has moved back up into P... Oh no, wait, has he always been? I just forgot. This is so much better than TCR, says Matt. I mean, well, the TCRs were definitely harder to control and race closely, but no, Kyle was in P2, so Morgan has passed him. I'm getting confused. Everyone's swapping over places. Let's have a look. Can I re-watch that, as he's probably about to make a move for P1. This is what happened with Morgan Burkhardt and Kyle Ridley. Down the inside of turn 8. Yeah, good move from Morgan. Feisty, but got it done. Mayor X gone off track. Let's go back live. This is what it looks like then. 14 of 16 the laps now. As Mayor X going way, way down the order. That must have been a big off track for Andre Mayor X. Let's have a quick look before they get to the main straight. What happened? Oh, contact there. Oh, John Bailiff. That's going to be... That was a weird one from John, to be honest. Didn't look good from that angle, that's for sure. But this is what it looks like at the front. Joshua Germany under pressure once again. Morgan really sending it into turn 8. He's trying to get the move done there, but Josh has been really good on the outside of that corner. But Morgan has also been strong on the outside of 10. Watch this. Watch how late he brakes and he turns. He throws it into that corner as Josh tries to get the exit. And can he move over on him this time? I don't think he's going to. This is going to be a mirror image of what we saw before. As Morgan tries to open up the corner as best he can. Josh brakes as late as he dares. Tries to get the better exit. Is Morgan going to cover him off and move over? I think he does. And now Kyle Ridley's got no slipstream, or has he got any slipstream? Morgan Burkhardt is just taking the win. Time to Lynch Bailiff. That top 3 just never stops fighting. I love it. Is there going to be a move made? Joshua Germany going to commit to the outside? No! He goes to the inside. He makes a look. He goes down the inside as Joshua Germany. That could be a good move. He needs to accelerate out of this corner, though. And Morgan is now going to be in Josh's position round turn 2. Cuts in. They're going to fight through turn 3. Is he going to open up the corner and make contact? No. Joshua Germany still in a good position, but Morgan Burkhardt currently leading this race. Oh, he'll be frustrated if he can't get this back, as will Ridley, as will Downing, trying to get onto that podium. I can't take my eyes off the top 4. I apologise to the rest of the grid. Shout out to Jerry Agard in P11 and Stephen Burns in P9. Martin Wallace deserves a shout out as well for Zero Forks Given Racing, who's just in your shot. There he is in P5. Joshua Germany still well within this race though, trying to get on to P1 as he's in P2 at the moment. He's going to look around the outside. No, Morgan's going to cover him off. He's going to need to make a hell of a send, is Joshua Germany, I think. He's playing it safe right now as they approach the final lap. Look at the glowing brake discs of the rears of these Jettas. Joshua just trying to find a space. Oh, it's getting to crunch time now. So this is now the zone where people start having it out for themselves and stop working together. But it looks like there's a bit of a gap. Dan Downing's tried making a move on Ridley, so they've all lost time to these top 2 as Josh takes a nice wide line. He's trying to set up the move for turn 1 to get the best exit he can. This is what it looks like from the nose cam of Joshua Germany. It's 3 tenths the gap, 2.5 tenths. I'm not sure the straight is going to be long enough. 2 tenths. It's going to have to be a hell of a send if he's going to do it now, or is he going to wait till later in the lap? 2 tenths is the gap. He's not going to send it this time. Can't get it done. Down towards turn 2 they go. Henry Mawson King are fighting it out back there in P7 and 8. They're swapping over. Joshua Germany gets nice and close to him there. This is... Well, what's he going to do? What is he going to do? Oh, it looks like he might have just cut that corner. That could be a slowdown. He'll be fuming if it is. I'm just waiting for him to lift off. It doesn't look like he's going to. It looked like he took a lot of curb. I haven't seen anyone take that much curb all race. He might be on for a solid P2. Morgan Burkhardt, though, taking a late win. A hell of a race from these top three. Let's have a look down here. Let's give the midfield train a bit of a show. Stephen Burns there in P10 still, holding on. Morse, King, Farr, Burns, Agard, Van Olst, Hughes there. Thurtle's still there. Really looking good for those guys. Entering the final, second to last hairpin now. Hughes and Thurtle going side by side into turn 10, as is Van Olst and Agard. They're all side by side, and Dan Downing comes into the pits. Was he underfueled? What was he doing in the pit lane in P4 on the last lap? No, Daniel Downing. I don't know what happened to him. I've forgotten his pit stop time. Joshua Germany, though. Morgan Burkhardt is going to take the win. Joshua Germany P2 and Carl Ridley P3. That makes Martin Wallace P4. He got a drive through, did Dan Downing. He must have hit the X limit. Manintveld, Morse. Downing is going to come out in P7. He crossed the line in the pit stop. King, Farr, Agard, Van Olst. I wonder if that drive through counts on the last lap. That's clever from Dan Downing if that was the case. If that really was, if he had that for a while, for example, I would say that is a good strategy call. Carl Ridley for Frog Leap Juiced Racing, bringing it home. I can't see. Let's have a look at this again. Ooh. Looking at that on board, that's a little bit different. That's going to be tough to call. That is, I mean, I know what the ORD side of the fence will say. On the off-board, it looks a lot more violent. There. I wonder if he lost the rear on the grass. Potentially lost the rear on the grass there. We'll look at that more in depth. Alexander Van de Valde, what happened to him? He went off track again. Oh, just kept his foot pinned. That's one line to take. Greg Otley went off track after being passed by Andy Fox. Oh, just before me, look at that. What a late break from Greg Otley there. Lost 2 positions. John Pitt again, I think. I think he underfueled, didn't he? He got an 8, was it an 8.8 second pit stop? I've got a feeling he underfueled. Although if he pit on the last lap, maybe it wasn't. Oh no, he didn't pit on the last lap. It's the second to last lap. Oh, wait, it's a drive-through. So he's hit the X limit as well. That's why. Very interesting. People using up their X's throughout this race. Doing things like that. Let's go back to the start. We'll put it It's interview time, really. Let's get the interviews done because I need to go to bed. So let's have a look at your results. This is what it looks like. Morgan Burkhardt ended up taking the win for Project Dynamic. Pulsar eSports Joshua Germany brings it home in P2. He'll be frustrated but also happy, I think, with that. He put on a great show today. As did Kyle Ridley with some insane moves. The Australian driver for Frog Leap Juiced Racing really showing his stuff once again here at Twin Ring Motegi. Can't praise that drive enough. Martin Wallace somewhat going unnoticed there in P4, but he will be... that's probably a... wait, does he have a podium in previous seasons? I want to say this is a career best for Martin Wallace. I'll tell you what. There's a website, guys, and I'm going to go look at it right now. If you don't know what the website is, it's there at the bottom, theracingline.org. And there is a statistics page under the Volkswagen Jetta Cup tab. And I will scroll down to Martin Wallace, who has been with us for 3 seasons. He does have a podium. So he has had a podium before. We know he's got a pole position. He done that at Summit Point, and he's got 2 fastest laps to his name as well. So his highest finish in previous seasons was a 2nd place. So it's not a career best, but he'll probably put that down as a career best because the strength of field right now compared to the season that he got that P2 is insane. It really is, especially, and you can see that from the racing that we've had today. Don't forget to vote your driver of the day. I'll copy and paste that link now whilst I go through the results. Again, this is the 2nd time, so if you haven't already done it, there you go. Morgan Burkhardt takes your win. Joshua Germany, Carl Ridley, Martin Wallace, Eric Mannenfeld and Henry Morse and Austin Farr 5th, 6th and 8th. A lot of points for street casuals there. Stephen King in P7. Joshua Germany, though, potentially holding the fort there for Pulsar eSports. You would say that street casuals have probably gained on Pulsar, but not enough to scare them, let's say, with Tiamu likely returning for the next round. Sam Van Alsten P10 is another result that went unnoticed. P10 is a good result for Sam, it's been a while since he's been up there. Arthur Thurtle in P11 on his return. Brandon Hughes P12, that might be a best. I shut the window. I'm going to open it up again. Statistics. Brandon Hughes. New to the Jetta Cup this season. Season 3. What is that man's best finish? Brandon Hughes. Where are you? His best previous finish in the Volkswagen Jetta Cup is 18th place. His highest grid start is 20th. And Brandon Hughes brings it home in P12. So that's a big jump up for him, and that will put him equal with Thomas Burling, who also has a 12th place finish from Season 1. Stephen Burns and Andy Fox will win it or bin it there in 13th and 14th, holding down the fort for that team. Patrick Dupart made it to 15th in the end after starting near the back. Greg Otley 16th, Ike LeQuay for Lurchis in 17th, and John Bailiff with a late drive-through there in 18th place. Let's go through the rest. Yeezer Samundere Corpus, 19th and 20th. Blake in 21st. Thornton and Mayerek next to each other as well. What happened to Mayerek? ORD haven't had a good day today. Well, they had a good first race. Second race, not so much. Oh, Mayerek went into the wall with John Bailiff. Never mind. I remembered it. Dan Downing there in P24 in the end with that drive-through. Oh, and so that's punished him more because he didn't serve it on the lap before. That's what he was saying in chat. Let's have a catch up on chat. I need to scroll up a long way. I've missed a lot. Seems to be doing very good this race. It seems like there were pile-ups. No pile-ups, really, to be honest. I don't remember there being many big crashes. There was 2 ORD crashes. Arguably not their fault, both in the same place. This final lap will be exciting. This series makes me want to drive the Jetta so badly. You should, Vince. Good little car. Bailiff is in P16. We saw what happened. It was a drive-through. Great job from Wallace, says Hobby Raccoon on Twitch. Christoph Plays says, I believe some of these drivers have a Jetta in real life. Donnie Henriksen used to. He doesn't anymore, I don't think, but he's not here today. Well done, Morgan, says Cranny Cart. He disappeared on entering the pits, so no. Dropped to the end in results. I don't know who Kakla was talking about there. What a race. Love to see it. Great commentator and great drivers. Thank you, Vince. John drives without interest. Don't get it. What 6 laps for me? Christoph, you'll have to watch back the full stream. Stupid drive-through penalty at the end, and it still gave me a time penalty on top. Oh, I see. Because you probably... Well, yeah, because you crossed the line in the pit lane. So that is stupid from iRacing, but that is the way it goes, unfortunately. A drive-through on the last lap, by the sounds of it. If the start-finish line was after the pit exit, which I don't think is anywhere, actually, that's a bit of trivia for you. For next week's stream, guys, see if you can find a racetrack where the start-finish line is after the pit exit, where that wouldn't happen. 6 laps is always better than 0. All because Carl's car jumped backwards with lag. Drive-through, says Jerry. All bandits, that's why. Plenty of points for the GigaJab team. Jerry says good racing with Vinolst. Vinolst says yes. Dan Boy Downing on pole, though. That was intense, says Andre Marek. Huge day for gamers. Shaking my head, Jack. I was talking about Downer. So, yeah, it was a long time ago. I'm catching up. What have we got here? I don't remember seeing Duncan go. Maybe his electric run out. It happens a lot in South Africa. The South African driver on the grid. He's 8 laps down, so he must have disconnected fairly early on. Let's get the interviews out the way, shall we? Let's get those 3 interviews done so I can go to bed and get ready to work, and you can all enjoy the rest of your evenings, of course, and we'll see you all next week for Okayama, another Japanese race. Let's have a look in Discord. Who is waiting for an interview? And who? Well, let's just remind myself. So we've got Morgan, Josh and Kyle, Henry, Dan and Eric. Damn, this is a tough one. Is everyone still in their own little chats? Henry, Dan and Eric. Morgan, Josh and Kyle. Can confirm our power does go off. Thanks, government, says Design AMK1. Thanks for the stream, Jack. Thanks for the race. No worries. Pit lane, or do they use the first finish line? Right. Stop reading chat. Let's get the interviews done. Do you know what? I'm going to speak to Kyle because it's a P3 at Twin Ring Motegi. He's won here in the RLTC. He won here in race 3, and he gets a podium today. He's had an absolutely storming race and provided us with some great action on stream. He will be pleased to hear. Welcome, Kyle Ridley. How are you feeling?
Welcome. Hey, Jack. I feel pretty good. I finally got one of those races where I was at the front and I was on the pace.
You very much were on the pace, and I'm gonna jump straight to it, as I'm sure me and Jake highly approve of this move that you pulled. Let's see if you know which one I'm talking about. There was a moment into turn 1, shall we say, where initially on the exit of turn 11, I thought, is he going to help Joshua Germany try and keep the lead here to not let Burkhardt win? And then there was a slight twitch in your car that made me think, actually, no, he's going for this himself. He's going to make it 3 wide down the inside. And you did. And you nearly pulled it off. So, well,
I nearly pulled it off.
You nearly pulled it off, but you made it up into P2 with that move. So it was a hell of a move. There was a few sends into T8 through that back section. Really, I think you'll enjoy watching the stream back today, Carl, because you've definitely put on a show for the fans. You've got a lot of racing in that second one especially.
Yeah, I was hoping to emulate my ILTC victory here, but it didn't quite happen. But, you know, third is was my best result of the season. I was up there fighting. It was such a good day. But with that free ride moment, I lined it up on the last corner. I took the ride line and I was like, I'm not helping nobody. I'm going for myself. And that's my mindset for the end of this season.
Yeah.
Got to get myself.
Well, of course. Speaking of the RLTC as well, actually, whilst you're here, because I was trying to remember if this happened, and I'm fairly certain I got it right, but you'll be able to confirm this. A bit of a role reversal in the sprint race, was it? Was it you? You took a win from Stevie on that final corner,
and
right?
Stevie took P5 from me.
Today,
yep.
It was the complete role reversal. Stephen did it to you in the sprint, right?
Yep. When he was pulling up on my left, I was looking at my left monitor. It's like, yep, this is his payback.
Yeah.
If only if it was for the win, though.
Yeah, I know. It would have been poetic justice if it was for the win. But we saw
I'm
Henry
sure
Morse.
Stevie was buzzing.
Yeah, he would have been happy. But Henry Morse took a win as well. And I say it's a shame that Morgan won. Obviously, we'll be happy for Morgan, and he's going to close that gap to Jake. And I'm sure we'll see them fight again at Oran Park for another championship win. But like you said, P3, season best result. There's something about this circuit, Kyle. What is it that seems to be strong for you here?
If I don't, I would apply it for all the tracks. I don't know.
There's just something about it. You're so
Something about the air.
There's something about the air in Japan. I obviously wish you all the best in Okayama next week. Is there anyone before I let you go that you want to say hello or thank you to?
Well, I don't need to thank my mum, as everybody has done it for me. So I want to say hi, and I want to thank you and Stevie for all the officiating and the rules making. So thank you.
No worries. Thank you, Carl. We'll speak to you soon. Well done.
Oh, sorry. Can I just want to thank my sponsors as well?
Oh, of course. You gotta thank them because
I've got to do it. Yes.
You gotta do it.
I want to thank Juiced Energy, HR Creative, the Pet Door Company, and all the other sponsors on the car. Thank you.
There you go. Well remembered. They'll be happy. Speak to you soon, Carl. Thank you. There he goes. Good P3 for that man. Who else have we got? I can't actually see. Oh no, I can see him. I'm not avoiding the winners, but I'm gonna speak to Dan Downing because he got a P2 in the sprint race, which I'm hoping that he's still happy for, despite his drive-through in the feature race. Because, I mean, it looked like you were gonna win, Dan. Did you feel that?
It was close, man. I tried my best. At least I got the pole position. I was quite buzzing about that.
You did. You got the pole position and you nearly got the win. I mean, you didn't let Henry get away with it, and you really were all over the back of him. Was there any weak spots that you could spot where you thought you were going to pull it off, or was it just a matter of keep trying?
He was slower, like in the middle sector. Like the S's and stuff. I was always gaining on him there. So I was like, if I can't get him into turn 1 or turn 6, I'll try and get him through the S's, but I couldn't quite pull it off. But yeah, it was good racing. And then the second race, that just kind of went. Well, it was going great. I pulled off some great moves. Pit strategy was good, and then just a few too many fucking 4Xs gave me a penalty.
Of course, apologies for the language there, viewers.
Apologies for my language, everyone.
It's just we are live.
And then I tried to serve the penalty because I was like, oh, the line's after the pit exit, and no, it wasn't.
Yeah, that's a weird one. We were talking about that,
and then it gave me a 35-second penalty on top.
Yeah, we were talking about that in chat. It's not really clear on how it works on iRacing. I think realistically, with a drive-through. But did you get it on the last lap?
No, I got it the lap before.
Yeah,
there was like a tiny bit of netcode on Kyle and Josh, and Kyle's car kind of pushed backwards straight into mine, and that's what put me over the limit. And I was like, oh, great.
I think realistically, going forward with something like that.
Penalty.
No, you can't. You can't. But in terms of maybe decision making.
Next time I'll just.
I think this. I don't.
Got it.
Maybe you could. Actually, I can have a look at these pit stop times. It looks like the pit lane was fairly short here, so it might have been worth doing.
Well,
when I
considered John finished technically 22 seconds ahead of me because of the pit stops, and he went in before that with a drive-through as well.
I think if you get one on the last lap, it's worth
16th maybe, but
yeah, I think if you get one on the last lap, it's worth probably just crossing the line and taking the time penalty than doing both. But maybe if you got it on the lap before, this pit lane seemed fairly short, so it might have been worth doing it then. But it's hindsight, and it's not the end of the world. You got a pole position and a P2, so congratulations.
I'm very happy with that. Thank
you got some fans in the chat. So what would you like to say? Who would you like to say hello or thank you to before I let you go?
First say thanks to my teammates, Duncan and Sam. Never here to do any practice, but love them all the same. I'll give a shout out to my girlfriend Elena as well for the support. Thank you very much.
There you go. Thank you very much, Dan. We'll speak to you soon. Well done.
Cheers, mate. Take care.
There he goes. I need to remind people of the Driver of the Day votes because we've currently got a tie for the Driver of the Day. between Daniel Downing and Kyle Ridley. So go and get your votes in chat. Both of them very much deserving. Both of them on the podium for the first time this season. Can't give it to two drivers. So go and change that result, please, if you can. Anyone that hasn't voted that's still watching, get your votes in whilst I speak to someone else. There is the link once again. Right, we need a third interview. And we've spoken to the two tied driver of the dayers. Let's have a look. Who else is in chat? We should speak to Henry Morse, really, because he won a race for the first time this season. He's ticked it off. It's what he was aiming to do. And Joshua Germany got P2. I might actually do some pulseless bias and do a fourth interview today. Let's speak to Henry. Let's speak to Henry and do some ex-pulseless bias, because he's not pulseless anymore, but street casuals with a super strong result in the feature, but a first race win of the season, Henry Morse. And could it have come any later?
No, probably not. I'm not going to have much time to practice for the next round, and Oran's tough. But, I'm really, really proud of what we did this round. All of us in the top 10 for the second race of the event, and obviously winning the first. Really, really excited for the boys back at the shop to bring this trophy back. They worked their asses off for this, so this is huge for us. And, of course, couldn't do it without Calypso.
Yeah. Everyone loves shouting out their sponsors today, which is what we're here for. Shout them out. Don't forget to thank
That's right.
VCO eSports.
And VCO eSports has been doing an amazing job. And of course, could never forget Kyle's mom. What a great lady she is.
It's going to be a running joke. Talk us through your race very quickly, your sprint race mainly, because you were up there, like you said in the feature, and all three cars were up in the top 9. But your sprint race wasn't easy. When you got the lead, I just had a feeling that maybe it was going to be sort of manageable from there, with sort of, without beating around the bush, with sort of past results of Mr. Downing at times when he's been that high up. But he didn't let you go, and he really was fighting you for that win. How was the pressure from Dan?
It was not terribly. So the thing is, there's a couple spots on the track where passing is likely to happen, right? So that's 1, and then 6 are the big ones. And I got a decent enough drive coming off the last corner each lap that I knew I could defend quite easily, and then not allow him to do the over/under. And then there was one lap. It was lap 6. I was slower through the S's, and he had quite the run on me going into turn 6. That was probably the closest to losing the race, the lead that I was. But other than that, I felt pretty confident about holding on to it. And also, I was really confident at one point because we were pretty far ahead of P3. So, at the worst, I'm finishing second. But then we started fighting, and that brought him back up.
Of course. And Eric putting on a strong show today as well. He was up there with you in the first race.
Yeah, really glad that he brought home a couple good results, because I believe in the last 2 rounds he was running in the top 3, and then was part of a racing incident, or
with the wall,
was the victim. Yeah, there was that one, and then there was also Laguna coming off turn 2 with Timo.
Oh,
he was running second.
That was annoying.
So that was a lot of points that he lost between those 2. But yeah, this was good for us. I believe we closed a ton of ground to Pulsus, so we could have a late showing in this Constructors Championship battle.
Teams Championship. We don't make the cars. Come on.
Oh,
you know
yeah,
this.
like season 1.
Yeah. That's unlike
they since clamped down the regs.
Yeah. We clamped down. It's a spec series now, you see, so it's all good.
That's why it's so close.
Yeah, that's right. You got it. Right. Is there anyone you want to say hello or thank you to before I let you go?
Well, I'd like to reiterate my gratitude to Kyle's mother, as well as all my friends and family that were watching the stream back home on planet Earth. And then also thanks to the drivers who are, racing respectfully out there, because that sure is cool when you see guys taking it, seriously yet casually at the same time.
Okay, thank you, Henry. Speak to you soon.
All right.
And there he goes. let's do the one more. Lovely man. There's a lot of people shouting at each other's mums. Henry normally brings in the support. If any of Henry's family are watching, hello, Henry. Hello to Henry's mum. Met her, lovely lady, really is. Anyway, let's bring in Joshua Germany because this is. I know we normally only do 2 interviews, and it is nearly 2 a.m. here, but I need to speak to this man because he gets a lot of flack for when he doesn't defend. No, I think he deserves an interview today with the race that he put up for the win. Were you frustrated or are you happy with your result in the feature race? Because you put on a hell of a show today.
Frustrated, but not for the reason you're thinking. I was on 20x, so I had to. I'm not gonna say give up the win, but I just couldn't buy it.
Couldn't risk it.
No, well, I did think about it. I didn't think about it, but I think I got about 16x from Kyle. So I was, what could I do? Either try and do a move and get hit and get no points, or just get a second place. So it's a bit disappointing, but it is what it is. It's just one of those things.
But a strong result. Points for the team. Stephen King up in the top 10 in the feature as well. 1 driver down. Street Casuals had a strong finish, but your P2 probably kept him at bay a little bit, which is all you needed to do. 2 rounds to go. How are you feeling?
I don't want to say it's gonna be fine, but you've got to keep putting good results in, because as soon as 2 people have a bad race, especially because of the 3 guys at Street Casuals, these are guys that can get top 10s easily. If nothing goes wrong, all 3 of them will get a top 10. So if I have a crash in the sprint, get no points, and Stevie has a bit of a wobble, or Timo doesn't turn up, that's so many points. You can have a 300 point gap, and then that can get reduced to 100 in just 1 round. So I'm not taking it easy thinking of the teams or anything, but I'll not be taking any stupid risks to just throw away points.
Well, there you go. Great result. A good racing, and I'm sure you'll enjoy watching that stream back. But is there anyone, before I let you go, you want to say hello or thank you to?
Obviously, thanks to VCO, GT Omega, you that puts it all on. And I'll congratulate Morgan and Henry as well on their win. I did big up Henry before this round to get a win finally, and I'm glad he's got it. I'll give a bit of credit to Dan as well, who got his pole. I've not got a pole, so I've got to give him credit, haven't I? But other than that, my cousin Jack, who watches these now, other than that, thanks, Jack. That's it.
There you go. Thank you very much. Speak to you soon. And there we go. That'll be our last interview for today. Those of you that are still here, Morse, let's go. Giga Chad, base person took a win the moment I'm gone. Comes in, races, takes a win. Thanks. Another person's mum leaves. Yes, Christoph, that's your man. Oh, sorry, Jerry. I missed your comment. You said, ask Henry if he's based. I'm sure he would have said, yeah. Just like that. The votes are still even on Kyle Ridley and Dan Downing. And I think I'm just going to have to break this down to a statistical choice. Because both of them raced really well today. Both of them made extraordinary moves that myself is proud of. Dan down the inside of turn 6, for example. Kyle down the inside of turn 1. Kyle around the outside of turn 1. But statistically speaking, if I'm going to have to pick between these 2 drivers who are currently even on Driver of the Day votes, Kyle got P3, Dan Downing got P2 and pole position. So we're going to give Driver of the Day to Mr. Downing today. So congratulations to the Goldwing driver, who gets your Driver of the Day. Kyle Ridley pretty much with a close second and some great racing through all of them. Huge day for gamers, says Sam Van Ost. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching once again. That is pretty much it this week. Next week, same time, a little bit earlier for you, Christoph. You missed a lot of the racing. So Okayama next week. I will see you then. If I don't see you on track this week, then I'll see you next week for the next video here on the Racing Line. Peace.